another place without me, or in ecstasy, and I'm left wondering. You push.
Three, two, one, and now we're officially live. ESP009, we are here with Lizbeth Deselm. Welcome back. So you were
back.
here once before.
My first time actually being on the show.
Right, first time actually on the show.
Sure.
So you were 2 weeks ago, right? 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
We had a little hiccup with the schedule, but we are 110% good to go now. We're here with Lizbeth Deselm, who is a Melrose School Committee member.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Melrose Wakefield? Or is that
That
Melrose?
is Melrose, as in abutting Wakefield, north of Malden, west of Saugus. Yes, that Melrose, Massachusetts.
Okay. So how far is it from this area, roughly? How far did it take you to get
Oh,
here?
goodness. Well, I don't work there. I work up in Billerica, and so it took a couple hours to get here.
Oh, okay. For those of you who are not from Massachusetts, it's not Billerica, it's Billerica.
Right.
Even though it looks like it's Billerica.
That's true. Yeah.
Gloucester.
Essentially, Melrose is a sleepy hamlet, as it were, about 7 miles north of Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's it like being on a school committee, period?
Let alone the Melrose School Committee.
Right.
So
Well, I don't know much about that area, so.
So the job of the school committee is really threefold, right? It is to evaluate the superintendent.
Okay.
It's to
The superintendent. Superintendent
yes.
Chalmers. That's right? That was his name? From The Simpsons?
Oh, yeah. It's to set district policy.
Okay.
And then on top of that, the job is really one of fiduciary responsibility. We set the budget for Melrose Public Schools.
Okay.
Every school district within the Commonwealth is tasked with those three things. Everything else that a school committee does is above and beyond what school committees actually do. We really only have those three specific roles.
Okay. So it was budget, district, and what was the third one?
Supervise, evaluate the superintendent.
Superintendent, that's right.
We don't actually go into the schools and fire principals. We have nothing to do with the nuts and bolts.
Sounds very
of
bureaucratic.
Teachers. Yeah, in fact, it is. It's a governing body.
Super bureaucratic.
I tend to like to think about it as we are the board of government for the executive. In this case, the executive is the superintendent.
So are you working on have you worked on any big projects that you're excited about with the Melrose School Committee?
I've been the budget
or anything
chair.
that you can talk about.
So I am finance and facilities chair for my committee.
Okay.
What that means is I have managed the budget process each of the last 2 years. It's been...
Oh, I'm terrible with numbers. I couldn't do that.
I enjoy it. I'm a bit of a wonk, so that really doesn't bother me too much.
Anything with numbers, and yes, that includes time and money. Perpetually late and perpetually saying, yeah, I got enough money for that.
Sure.
I don't think I would be very good at that position, so more credit to you. All the credit to you for being able to do that successfully.
It's an unpaid job, and it's something I really enjoy. I'm passionate about education, and I'm passionate about service to community and to others. And so, before I was on the school committee, I was part of Melrose Human Rights Commission, where we help.
I do have that in my notes. I'm very curious about that.
So the Human Rights Commission at a city level is really focused on human rights.
So is Melrose a city?
Melrose is a city.
Okay.
One of the smaller cities in the Commonwealth. There's only...
You did say a hamlet.
We are. Look it up on... We do not
I don't know
have
too much about Melrose Wakefield.
easy access to... Well, Wakefield is a town just north of us.
Okay. It's funny because every time I hear somebody say Melrose, 9 times out of 10 they always say Melrose Wakefield together.
It's funny because we consider...
I don't know where that's from.
We often look at each other in terms of sports rivalries as a natural rival. Every year, our football team and their football team play a Thanksgiving Day game, and we alternate locations.
I love Thanksgiving Day football games at the high school level.
Well,
I
this is
used
kind
to
of
go to
like the
ours
family, except it's
every Thanksgiving.
Wakefield versus Melrose.
Okay. Okay. So, yes, so the Human Rights Commission. So that sounds very, very intriguing. So I definitely want to know more about that.
It's an education and awareness body. They manage, they do a lot of helping people find the services they need and meet with people that they need to if they feel they have been discriminated against within the city. We help advise.
I was going to say, sounds like social work at first.
I say we, but it's not me anymore. But when I was on it, we helped connect people who had housing issues, connect with the housing authority.
Okay, like a buffer, like a go-between, but of the helpful variety.
Correct. While I was on the Human Rights Commission in Melrose, I advocated for adding gender identity to our non-discrimination language.
Oh, awesome.
So
Perfect. Boom.
So that
there it is. High five.
We actually became the 12th municipality in the Commonwealth to adopt that language.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So even if
it's
this
that
ballot
rare?
measure,
it's
which
that
I want
rare
to
in
touch
Massachusetts, the actual language and the
wow, it's that rare. So
I'm
even
surprised.
if this ballot measure doesn't pass,
the upcoming one in November,
the
that we're
upcoming
talking
one
about, right? Correct. Okay.
in November, yes.
Ooh, that's a
does not
doozy.
Pass, right? We could
Excuse
dedicate
me.
a whole show on that, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even if that doesn't pass, certain municipalities have already adopted the language and will not let it go.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which is small of small consequence, but still.
So those communities that have already adopted that language, does that mean that if the ballot initiative passes, those individual towns and communities have the right to claim their own bylaws?
Clean up that just a touch, right? So
I don't really know too much about what I'm talking about, but
the ballot
I think
measure
I know enough.
That is on
let's discuss
November's
that.
ballot measure really takes away trans rights, public accommodations, repeals it that was passed in 2016.
So this is what for everyone listening, this is what the upcoming ballot initiative in November is about. So
right. So what we're asking everyone to do is affirm our rights, affirm that we are in fact human and deserving of
it's so crazy to even have to say that
life like everybody else. And so what we're asking is everyone votes yes, not no.
Okay.
Affirm
and sometimes
rights,
they
please.
always flip the language to make
and
it confusing to the average layperson.
The language is we want you to affirm the law.
Okay. So voting yes means that you want to keep
Amen.
everything in place that's already been established by previous administrations, previous Massachusetts governments and, and legislatures.
Correct.
And also there was an executive order by Deval Patrick that was part of it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
If you want to know more, if you want to be involved in the grassroots effort to make sure that we affirm these rights, go to Freedom for All Massachusetts.
Yes, that's the one. And they're very big on Facebook because I always see Freedom for All Massachusetts posting daily.
Yes.
I believe.
And Twitter and all social media. And they actively are making phone calls. And really the way we're going to win this is by talking to people face to face, and we want to build that trust, right? It's a grassroots.
Going back to grassroots politics,
making everyone aware that there are actual
hashtag Let Us Pee, right?
At stake. Exactly.
And it's.
I certainly don't want to go back to the men's room.
Oh,
Thank you.
I would never. I think even if I would just not. Even if it did become a thing, like
I don't want to go back. I personally don't want to go back to holding everything until I finally get home.
Right. And it goes back to exposing what all these bills are. And basically all of these bills, whether it's here in Massachusetts or anywhere else in the country, all of these bathroom bills, which is basically, I think, the language that everyone is familiar with.
It's all fear-mongering.
The bathroom bills. Mm-hmm. It's fear-mongering for one, and two, it's basically an attempt to remove transgender individuals from public life, because if trans individuals, in theory, can't use restrooms in public, then they can't exist in public.
Essentially, yeah,
that's one of the first things I heard when Trump first got elected, and this first became a thing with the bathroom bills.
Correct.
Yeah, but again, bathroom bills, I think, is the language that everyone knows. So I also have here on the notes that I want to talk about is Emerge Massachusetts. So I looked that up, and basically let me know if I have this correct. So you are an alumni of the Emerge Massachusetts program.
I am.
And just in visiting their website, it seems like Emerge MA is basically an organization, possibly, is it nonprofit?
Nonprofit.
Okay, it's a nonprofit organization that fosters women who are interested in becoming active members of active members in their communities that are also members of the Democratic Party?
Very, very close.
Okay.
So
Sort of
I don't know that Democratic Party is
grooms
listed
them
in
for
there.
success, to quote Game of Thrones.
Sure. So
The Jon
Emerge
Snow quote.
is actually a nationwide movement that's going on. Emerge
So
Massachusetts.
okay. Oh, so it is nationwide.
It is nationwide.
Okay.
Emerge
That's
Massachusetts,
exciting.
however, is of course our Commonwealth's own version of that.
Yes.
And
2 girls from Massachusetts.
yay. Essentially,
Blue.
what it is you have a boot camp, which is 4 days of very intense training, or a 6-month, couple weekends a month training. It's geared for people for progressive women who want to get involved in politics.
Okay.
So, notice
So I was very
it's
close.
Progressive
women.
not necessarily.
Not specifically women who are members,
Correct.
openly members
so you
of the
Bernie
Democratic
out
Party.
there that want to get
Okay.
involved and don't want to join the Democratic Party, you could still be involved in this way.
Perfect. I like that. That's very clever. It's being
It's
more
for
inclusive.
progressive women specifically, and women only, but all comers for women. When I was interested,
And obviously it includes
I
trans
called
women.
up the director directly, and she was, I'm interested in your course. I've seen what there is. I'm looking. This was 2013, May of 2013. I said I'm interested in running.
was that
for
long
school
ago for you?
committee. It was that long ago
Oh, wow.
for me. And
So you've been in this for a while.
well, I lost that election by 91 votes, but who's counting?
Okay.
But
But now you're here.
now I won in 2015, so I'll take it.
Now you're officially on the committee, making some changes, putting some official language into legislature.
Yes, let's go with that.
I try to sound smart, although
But
I'm
I did the boot
not
camp.
an expert on politics by
It's
any
okay.
stretch of the imagination, and I won't claim to be. So correct if I say anything that's way out there, just reel me back in.
Well, I think, the one thing I want to be clear is I am a member of the Melrose School Committee. I am not speaking on behalf of the school committee.
Correct, yes.
I also want to make clear I am alumni of Emerge. I'm not speaking on behalf of
Right.
Emerge. So
Very politically correct.
I
I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I just say whatever because I do podcasting. Most of the stuff we talk about is gaming and anime. So
have been able to use my position to become to sign on as an amici for amicus briefs.
what is an amici?
It's a friend. In Latin, it's friend. So an amicus brief is
Okay.
a friend of the court brief is what it is.
Okay.
And in this instance, I've signed on to a number of amicus briefs, which are letters to, in this case, the Supreme Court, asking for them to rule in a certain way. Notably, the Gavin Grimm case, for instance.
Okay.
I signed on, along with my superintendent, really to point out that this is good health within the schools for all the students, not just for the transgender kids.
So what is the Gavin Grimm case?
So Gavin Grimm, oh girl, you need to read up a little. Gavin Grimm was a trans man in Virginia who was denied access to the men's room.
Okay.
And the court made it all the way to the Supreme Court
Okay.
and got punted down.
Well, this is also one of the joys of podcasting, though, because me not doing too much research ahead of time allows me to ask genuine questions.
Sure.
And it keeps the dialogue ball bouncing.
Let it bounce, I guess.
Let it bounce.
I'm more a soccer fan, so
Oh, okay.
I'm always up for a little bit of footy.
I'm not very sporty, like in general. I'm just a huge nerd. Like, yay, sports. But no, not really.
I like my nerdness.
Yes. Oh yeah,
I've
we're
got a
gonna
bit of nerd.
we're gonna get into that because there's a lot of sci-fi authors I want to talk to you about. But- so, what do you think that the state of trying to think of how best to I phrased it wonderfully before, but now that I'm actually on the spot thinking about it. So you as a member of a school committee,
Sure.
specifically in this case the Melrose School Committee, one of the things I wanted to ask you is what your take as a professional is on both the local, and by local I mean Massachusetts, and national states of transgender youth, school-age transgender youth, probably specifically more high school age youth. What is the status of any significant cases that we should be following, or any civil rights actions that we should be following, or any big stories that we should be following, or just kind of just the national and local sort of status of everything that's going on with transgender youth as a whole group.
So
does that make sense the way I phrased it?
I think I know
sort
where
of
you're going.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you're okay there.
Okay.
You know, trans youth
Sometimes
in the U.S. are so much further along than trans youth were when we were kids.
That's true.
You know, we have kids that are able to come out when they experience their dysphoria, and it's recognized for what it is, and they're able to actually get help now.
Yes.
Now, this is, of course,
that is one thing that's very apparent for all that's going on. That is something that is
right.
very heartwarming and very apparent to all, is that it's common now to see and interact with transgender individuals everywhere.
Well,
which is great.
But
even
not
though there's
just
this
trans,
pushback.
right? There's being gender
MTF,
fluid,
FTM,
or agender,
non-binary.
Well,
we talk a lot about non-binary on the show.
All of this is becoming, it's not the norm yet, but it's at least becoming more accepted. We've got certain pockets of population that certainly are very against this.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Right? I mean, it still happens.
Jordan and I talked about that in the last episode.
But on the whole, you have more families recognizing that the child is in distress and needs help, and then listening to the healthcare provider when they say, this is what's going on with your child. Mm-hmm. And more parents are coming forward saying, when Johnny became Susie, all of a sudden they were a different person, where they were mopey and didn't participate in life. They all of a sudden wanted to participate in everything, and their eyes wide open, and they were happy. Depression lifted.
I can attest to that.
This is happening,
experience.
right? I mean, I know that when I first went through, it was like I saw color for the first time. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
So
that is, I just want to stop you right there for a second. That is probably one of the best descriptions of officially coming out as trans that I've ever heard, because people ask me all the time, what's it like? And I kind of just grab at the phrase that I keep hearing all the time. That's kind of like one of the more common phrases, which is, oh, it's basically just a huge mood boost every day. But seeing color for the first time, I love that.
Well, I went from...
Oh, by the way, last sidebar, happy Pride Month, everyone.
Hey, happy
Pride Month to you.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I took one picture in front of the... I took a picture in front of the Providence State House.
Yeah?
In the evening, when it was all lit up. The rainbow lights that they did.
Sure.
Was there so beautiful.
Was there a big Pride thing in Providence?
No, I just happened to be in the area.
Oh, okay.
So, last quick sidebar, then I'm going to segue back into this. So, one of the things that I talk about every once in a while is sort of separating but maintaining a relationship. So, separating the T from LGBT, but not in like a complete division. I feel like the two should be separate but connected, and that these two strong groups together should move forward with social activism, civil rights, etc. But I think that lumping trans individuals, including male to female, female to male, non-binary, gender fluid, etc., into gender identity, into LGBT, which is LGB is obviously sexuality, asexuality.
Sure.
Sapiosexuality. Sexuality is obviously totally different than gender identity.
Yes.
So, I think
you've seen the Gender Bear, yes?
The what?
Gender Bear?
No, I haven't seen the Gender Bear.
If you haven't seen the Gender Bear at home, you need to Google this.
The Gender Bear. Okay.
The Gender Bear. Essentially, it lays out just what you're talking about: orientation, masculinity versus femininity in terms of their expression, identity, male, female, or something else. And there's a fourth one that escapes me. I'll remember it in the middle of this show. But essentially, it lays out that they're each a spectrum. and
Oh,
where
yes.
you fall on the spectrum is very different. And so it's like a gingerbread, but it's got the bear, and it's
Oh, I like that.
yeah.
Maybe I have
great.
heard about that. Do me a favor. Can you just slide your mic a little bit that way? Just a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Is that better?
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, I was trying to figure out, again, somebody came in and I think somebody tweaked the
Oh, I see. I
with
see.
the track master, I don't know, whatever. That thing. I just come in and do my thing. LGB, asexuality, sapiosexuality,
Sure,
sexuality
sure.
in general, pansexuality,
Intersex.
which is pansexuality, which is going to take off. It's going to be the wave of the future. Pansexuality is the wave of the future. Sexuality, again, different than gender identity, but I like that there's the pride flag, the rainbow pride flag, and that there's the trans pride flag.
Sure.
So 2 flags as part of the same greater entity, pushing forward together but separate.
And sometimes we have to come out twice, right? Sometimes we have to come out as trans and as lesbian, or
Yeah, the second coming.
yeah,
You like that? So yeah, so
More
you're,
than I
you're
probably
absolutely right,
should.
though. Right. You're absolutely right, though. It's coming out twice because I have a very good friend who was on the show, Elle Newman.
Mm.
I don't know if you saw episode 4, but Elle Newman, aka Laura Newman, sometimes Laura Newman, my friend who I love their definition and the way that they express being non-binary. Just flawless sense of style, fashion, very, very comfortable, totally comfortable in their own skin. Just an inspiration.
Good.
And I love giving them a little shout out because we also can't forget that the white in the center of the trans flag is for non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
Non-binary, gender fluidity, everything that sort of falls in the middle. Mostly gender fluidity sort of kind of was attached, but non-binary is really the core of the white stripe in the trans flag.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had a similar situation, the second coming out, when
Sure.
they came out as non-binary, and it was, for a lot of people, I think, especially people outside of the community, being non-binary is difficult to wrap your head around. Not so much for us because we're familiar. But I think based on what they were describing to me, they seem to have answered a lot more questions about coming out as trans, as non-binary, than I did about coming out as a woman, being male to female. My questions
In what
are
way
usually
can you expand that?
my questions are usually pretty straightforward. Just the usual. What type of elective surgery are you going to have? Did you always feel like a woman?
Can I just say I hate getting asked that in general.
Just the.
I mean, I understand that part of
the
my
question
job
we already
is
talked about. How
education,
do you feel?
But I understand part of the job is education, but
I know
it's kind of
some
like
of the questions are like.
it's kind of. I mean, I wouldn't walk up to a random woman on the street and ask, "So when are you getting your
Right. But I think
things augmented?"
the questions that I was asked were very simple, straightforward. They were describing basically a lot of complex situations where basically Elle was describing a situation. Thank God for editing, by the way. Elle was describing a situation where the questions that they were getting seemed very convoluted and complex. And no matter how they answered, the story that I was hearing from them was basically that a lot of people just really weren't getting it and left with more questions than they had, or ended up sort of saying, well, I don't really understand. But I mean, and we get that too.
Sure.
As people say, I don't understand, but I accept it. The way that they were describing their conversations, it really seemed like people were just sort of, that their minds were blown by someone being non-binary and the use of they, them, theirs pronouns. And like I said, with us, it's really not that complicated. But
Well, we do live in a. Our language is binary, right? And because our language is binary, it tends to lead to a either or set of thinking, just from a social construct.
social constructs. I love talking about social constructs. Is there anything else you wanted to add about your background? I think that's basically, we covered a lot of.
Yeah, no,
Pretty
we
much
covered
everything.
a lot.
Is there anything that you want to add about the? Yeah, so I interrupted you when you were discussing your take on the status of trans youth,
So
both locally, because I think we are lucky in Massachusetts, and nationally.
So, something I do want to highlight here.
Segueing back.
Here in Massachusetts, the legislature recently passed something that now allows for the inclusion of GLBTQI history to be taught within social studies.
I did hear about that, which is
in
amazing.
our schools,
Because
right?
I was a history major.
And so now we're not getting glossed over. We are, again, it's part of this. We are becoming human, and we have a history, and it's being taught. People are becoming more aware. You know, when I grew
I
up,
would love to teach queer history. Actually, Bridgewater State University has a queer studies program, which includes history.
cool. Long Beach State did not.
So history programs and
Yeah, this is a great thing.
It's a
Not
wonderful
only
thing.
are school GSAs becoming more of a thing, they're evolving. Our school has become more inclusionary, so it's not just a gay-straight alliance. It's also more social justice, perhaps social justice warrior-esque. And I wear that brand proudly, I might add. You know, it's become, the schools have become more of a safe space. Granted, there are communities where it's more safe than others, but
very true.
but
Very true.
but the
We hit
trend
on that earlier
is
as well.
increasing. Queer youth are finding the ability to express themselves more.
I love
and
that we
more.
took the word queer back, by the way.
Oh, I own it.
Yes.
I remember when I talked to my dad about that. He's like, "Don't use the word queer. That's bad." No.
Not
me.
anymore.
It works.
Any other takes on?
Any other takes? No, I mean,
What do you?
we have supportive teachers. We have supportive
Yes.
staff. The initial trans rights bill that came across and is not being challenged affords our schools to be safe spaces for queer youth, and that's a good thing. It's a very good thing. The next big push is ensuring that there is appropriate mental health resources for all of our
Yes, that's the
youth.
other thing. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see too much in the ways of mental health advancements with mental health in general with this current.
I suspect
national or
it's sort of
federal
a
administration.
generational thing.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
no, this
Obama
current-
was much younger than. How old was Obama when he was president?
It's a great question, and I don't
No
know.
idea. I think younger than Trump is now, right?
Oh, by far.
Yes.
Yes. If
This-
I recall, he was one of the youngest to be
That's
inaugurated.
right, yeah. I mean, I don't know how old Trump is. It's hard to tell because there's.
He's
Because
a septuagenarian.
what is a septuagenarian?
He's in his 70s.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because he's so orange. I was
mean,
gonna say there's young, old,
spray
and
on
orange.
tan things will do that to you. Yeah, stay away, kids.
Yeah, that spray on tan is
You want a
brutal.
tan? Go outside.
Wow.
Vitamin D is good.
So one of my favorite things to do, speaking of education,
Even
is
if you're
to
out there playing Clash of Clans in the sun, do it.
Clash
It's
of
great.
Clans, nice. Is to find video compilations
Do people
of.
still play Clash of Clans?
I don't know. I don't think I ever played it, but I said nice because of the reference because
Yeah.
I knew what you were talking about.
That's a portable gaming app.
What's the new-ish meme? I understood that reference.
Correct.
I
You're
very
out there
much
playing
enjoy.
PUBG or Fortnite. I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all the rage right now.
I actually, so my niece plays Fortnite, and my friend Mike plays PUBG, and they're both like obsessed with it. But
I have not played either.
I haven't played either. Yeah. No interest.
No, not really.
Too much pew pew. Not enough story.
Oh no! I mean, mindless pew pew. I used to play Call of Duty once upon a time.
The
Pew
new
pew is fine.
the new Call of Duty that they released, the new trailer that they released during E3 does not look promising.
Oh, it's been years since I
Yeah.
played it though. So
I think I can't even remember what the last Call of Duty was that I played. It was the one where you do the time attack in the airplane at the very end, and
I'll go
Two
even further,
Modern Warfare?
further
I don't
back.
know.
I remember Doom, the original, and I played
Well,
it.
we're going to talk about that
Right
after
on
too.
up.
I have that on the list because there's a new trailer that was released at E3 for Doom. So the last thing about education I was going to say is one of my
Sure.
favorite things to do is to find videos of Betsy DeVos saying
Oh.
ridiculous things,
And she does.
compilations.
She really does.
So I think that basically the fact that she is in the position that she's in basically is another way that you can sort of assess the status of progressiveness, if that's a word, in the national educational system. it can only go so far, unfortunately, with her at the helm. But there's things that we can do locally.
Yes.
Things that you're doing.
Yeah, and remember that
do as
all
a greater
politics is
community.
local, right? What happens? It's funny when we talk about elections, and I'm a
That's
bit
true,
of
too.
a
That gets lost on
elections
people
wonk.
sometimes, too.
So
What is a wonk, by the way? I love it, but it's just one of those weird.
I'm a nerd. I get
old-timey-
into that.
Okay.
I really people will watch. Oh, what's the big Housewives of Orange County or what have you?
Oh, I
and
don't know.
I'm
I'm super girly, but I don't even watch that.
I don't watch any of that. I watch politics at night and the Game of Thrones that happens in Washington.
Jordan has socks
and locally,
that say.
that's my reality show.
Jordan has socks that say C-SPAN and chill.
Indeed. Although since I cut the cord, I don't get C-SPAN anymore. But that's a different story.
Ah.
But if I can touch on this point, everybody go vote for your local elections.
Yes,
the
go
local
vote.
elections, the policies get passed in
Most
your
of the people
town
watching, I
or
think, are
city.
liberal or progressive.
Those are the ones that really impact you on a daily
Mm-hmm.
life. What happens at the state level, yes, it has an impact, but really what really makes the most impact on you are your local politics, your local elections. And most of those politicians are very happy to have a conversation. Most, not all, most. One of the things I've said since the very beginning of my public life was I'll talk to anybody at any time. So
That's
if you
good.
want to have a conversation,
That's a good mantra to
let's
have,
a
though, especially if you're a
conversation.
public figure.
With all that in mind, what is the election that everyone turns out for? Is
The
it the
presidential
local,
election,
the state,
unfortunately.
or the presidential?
Right?
And
I think that's the...
yeah, it's the presidential. It has
More
almost the
awareness.
least effect you have, short of Trump
Oh, yeah, we
pushing
need
that
to-
big button, right? Short of that, really, federal politics has very little to do with what happens.
So
on
how do
Main
you feel about being part of the axis of evil now? Because apparently we salute North Korean generals.
Street? Oh man, the man who saluted a North Korean general
Ah.
is the man who criticized Obama for, as is custom, bowing to the Saudi prince to defer respect.
Womp,
Whose
womp.
body of work do you enjoy more? I'll let that be.
Oh, yes. So I think we've pretty much covered everything that we wanted to cover. Strong work.
Yeah.
Now I've got some free time. We can play around with nonsense. Anything else that you want to add?
In
about
terms of
anything that we just
education?
talked about? Yeah.
No. No, I mean,
Thank you for that
It's an-
summary, by the way. I think
it's
that
an
was
ongoing
very well said.
process,
Well
right?
thought
There's
out.
always issues going on.
Vote. Everyone vote.
Vote locally.
Yes, vote locally. And there's big elections coming up everywhere in November.
We have statewide elections this November. Some municipalities have elections coming up in March or April of next year. I'm not up until November of next year. Off-year elections are when the municipal elections are. In other words, election years that are not gubernatorial and or federal.
Okay. So thank you for coming to my panel at Anime Boston, by
Yeah.
the way, officially sort of segueing into the hashtag Nerdcast portion.
I was there with 3 queer kids.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. Your kids?
One of them.
One of them. Okay, that's right. Good for you. That's awesome. How old is your kid again?
So my oldest just graduated
Oh, okay.
and going off to college in the fall.
Wow.
My youngest
Congratulations.
is going into 8th
You must be
grade.
proud. Proud mom moment. So yeah, thank you for coming to the panel, because that panel was pretty cool.
That
I
panel
had
was
some fun.
pretty cool.
Thank you.
It wasn't quite what they were looking for. They were looking for more, less on the experience of being in Japan and more on your experience as a trans woman being in Japan.
Oh, really?
And so
They meaning the group you went with,
The-
or other people?
the 3 kids that I was
Okay.
with, the 3 early teenagers,
Okay.
as it were. But that's okay. It was a good panel, and they walked away.
I tried to get a little bit of both. I didn't want to make it all about myself. You know what I
They
mean?
walked away. My youngest looked at me. We're going to Japan. Yes,
Yes!
we're going to Japan.
Yes, that's what that
At
was my
some
next
point,
question.
We will.
Is when are you going? When are you actually going to go to Japan?
That's a great question. I don't know. Aunt May loves your haircut, by the way.
Oh, thanks, Aunt May. I love your hair, by the way. That's
Thank you.
Someday, my natural hair will be like that.
And since that's Spider-Man, I'm going to say, hey, Pete, how you doing, buddy? Spidey was my favorite. Still my favorite character.
So when are you going again to Japan?
We have not bought tickets yet.
Not bought tickets yet. Okay, so because I'm planning on going again next May.
Okay.
with the core group of fabulous people that I go to AAC with, and one person from my Anime Boston squad.
In May, we will be going to Quebec.
Ooh, okay.
My youngest and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you going to French Canada? Just to see the sights, or do you have...
Because they are learning French, and the 8th grade class is going.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm going to tag her along as a chaperone.
Okay.
No hablo francés.
Oh, no, me neither. Took me a second.
Pequeño español. No
Yes.
hablo francés.
Okay. So, Doom. I said that we were going to come back to Doom. So you said
so
that
what
you
I
love
actually
Doom,
showed
right?
you was something called Doom and Destiny,
Okay.
which is a RPG app. I don't know.
You know what's really funny is that I remember you telling me Doom and Destiny, but I had Doom, Destiny.
Oh, Doom is the first-person shooter from.
Yes.
Oh gosh, when did that
Which
come
they
out?
have
The
a new trailer
80s?
for.
Late
by the way.
80s.
I'm gonna post about it later.
90s. I guess I got
Yeah,
started
they're
playing
making a
with it
remake.
in the 90s.
Remake of the original.
And I went Doom, Doom 1, Doom 2, or Doom 3, I mean. Doom 2, Doom 3. Then, I know at some point while I was in college, they came out with a new franchise for Doom, and I never played it. I haven't played it since.
Okay. So yeah, so they are coming out with a new one. I'm glad you don't actually play Destiny, though. Like Destiny, because that is... The whole DLC thing.
Is that the massively open online
sort
whatever?
Of. It was supposed to be like a massively open thing, but then like all the fans got gypped, and it was almost like a linear adventure. No Man's Sky was something different. Yeah, that's the big open world one that had like thousands of planets that it kind of there was too much to do from what I heard.
Sure.
I didn't play it, but that was kind of the word on the street.
Perhaps you can tell from my questions that I didn't play it either.
So what is Doom and Destiny again? So go back to that, because Doom and Destiny sounded really cool, and I really wanted to make sure we talked about that.
It's a... Well, for those of you that like Dungeons and Dragons...
That would be me.
It is
you, obviously.
a Android or iOS app standalone game. There's a free version and a purchase version, the advanced.
Okay.
I strongly recommend the advanced. It's $5, I think, and there's no more ads or anything like that. And
okay.
I support them enough to do that. The opening is 4 guys are going to their dungeon master's house to have a campaign, and the world goes topsy-turvy, and they enter a dungeon, and
that's okay.
And so their job is to rescue. Their job is to rescue eventually. I think
# Demigorgon.
The
I always
initial
find a way to
dungeon
plug that
master,
every episode.
and life took over, and I never got that far. But
okay, life does.
It was very
because,
entertaining
as you know,
for
I'm
the
a
short
parent
time
too,
that I
and
was
it's
able
like,
to play it.
Yeah, I have like no time for anything.
I have more time in my car listening to stuff or talking to people than I do actually when I'm out doing things.
Although I did apply for a position at Sucker Punch Studios.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did not get in, but they did say that they were going to we'll keep your resume on file with all the work that you submitted, just in case. So I'm holding out hope.
Good.
If you're listening, I'm still interested.
Higher.
Yeah, even Bridgewater State University Twitter jumped on that thread and was like, "Hey, hire Eryn. She's good people." But but I don't have any specific. I don't have industry experience.
I think you're getting it right now as we speak.
Right. Well, specifically within the gaming industry.
Oh, I see.
Actually, technically, that's not true, because this is technically because we talk gaming on here all the time.
We do talk some.
So I do have industry experience, but
we've talked a little, and I've seen that you talk others.
I think they were looking for something very specific.
Oh, I see.
Like screenwriting, action-based, formatted writing samples, which I didn't have any. I had a creative writing sample that detailed the Battle of Bunei in 1247.
Okay.
Fall of 1247. The last battle of the first Mongol invasion of Japan.
Okay.
It was a 10-page narrative that I was really proud of. I'll send it to you because it was came out really well, I think. And then some works that I did, some research in medieval Japan that I did for my undergrad.
Okay.
So Doom and Destiny, check that out. It's Steam.
No, actually, you can get it
Android.
You can get it through the Play Store.
Okay. Sorry, I just assume games like this are all on Steam or Steam based.
No.
So you are a Star Wars fan, correct?
I am a Star Wars
Did you see
fan.
Solo?
I have yet to see Solo. I am totally lacking. I happen to have somebody who graduated and family visiting and so on and so forth. So my time has not been my own.
That's what happened last time after we had the cancellation. You're like, well, I'm just going to go to this graduation thing. Let's celebrate. So that worked out. So Solo, I'm going to say it here on ESP. My assessment is literally going to be the same as everyone else's assessment that you've heard. But credit where credit's due. Angry Joe had a really good assessment. And if you haven't checked out Angry Joe, go check out the Angry Joe show. Check out the Angry Joe show on YouTube. My favorite thing about Angry Joe is their rating system, because it's one of the most brutally honest rating systems that I've ever seen. They don't pull any punches. Like, they give 3s, 2s, 5s. I don't know if I've seen a 1, but I think Metal Gear Survive got a 2, which was 2 or 3, which is pretty accurate. And I believe Star Wars Solo got 2 5s and a 6 from their panel. But their 5s would be out of 10.
Many? Out of 10. Okay.
But their 5s would be like somebody that's more mainstream, that kind of takes it a little easy on gaming and in cinema. Might give it like a 7. So the assessment that was discussed on Angry Joe, and pretty much the same assessment that I keep hearing from all of my friends, other YouTubers, Solo, A Star Wars Story is good, not great. And that's it. There's really not.
Didn't people say the same thing about Rogue One?
No, Rogue One is my second favorite Star Wars movie of all time. Rogue One, the popularity of Rogue One's kind of, at first, I think people didn't know what to make of it, but then almost immediately after, the popularity of Rogue One just, I think it's pretty unanimous in the Star Wars fan base that Rogue One is.
You think so?
Considered one of the best. Yeah, it's my second favorite.
I know. I consider
New
it
Hope
one
is
of
my
the
first
best.
favorite.
Last
Jedi is my third favorite Star Wars film of all time. That's right. Hashtag Raylo. I ship it. I have fantasies about Kylo Ren and Rey. Don't judge me. Actually, you know what? Judge me if you want. I don't care. I love it. I love Raylo all day. You should see that. You should see the lewd, nasty fan art from Raylo. It's on my phone right now.
It's quite all right. I don't need to.
It's like JFC, you know. You look at. I was like, when I saw it,
there are some things you can't unsee.
My nose was bleeding, everything.
Oof.
Ship it. Yes, all day, girl. Yeah. So yeah, no shame. Hashtag Raylo. Episode 8 is my third favorite Star Wars film of all time. I don't give a F.
No, I never did see Solo, although
Good, not great. Good, not great.
Can we segue to The Martian?
Yes.
So
Andy Weir.
So Andy Weir is a technical writer who wrote The Martian. If you are into science fiction and a bit of a nerd who likes the technicality, then his writing is right up your alley. His book, The Martian, was easily one of my favorite books. It's very technical.
I love the movie.
It is very accurate with everything except for the opening sandstorm, which on Mars doesn't have the atmosphere to really hold that.
Generate that much.
No.
That's a great movie, by the way. Watch it.
Everything else. The movie was good as a movie. This is one of those where you have to separate what the book was from what the movie was, and the movie was good as a standalone movie. The book, so much more detail, so much more roller coaster ride, and so much better.
And what was the other book from Andy Weir?
So Andy Weir just came out with a new book, I guess at the end of 2017, called Artemis, which is based on a moon colony. Again, very technical. It's a good story. It follows a female anti-heroine, as it were, and it's really great. So I want to plug Andy Weir. The guy's writing is fantastic.
I definitely want to check out, because I don't do much reading, but
sure,
I want to check out Artemis.
I wonder how many of your listeners are from the 80s or big fans of the 80s. Did anyone like Ready Player One, the book, over the movie?
I didn't even know that it was a book.
I haven't seen the movie, but the book was fantastic. And so I bring that up because there was another book that came out the year before, called The Bobiverse, I Am Legion. And this guy, very similar to Ready Player One, references all manner of 80s and 90s and last generation and the aughts sci-fi and pop culture. It is fantastic. Long story short, he forms a way to become a self-replicating probe. I believe they call it a Huygens probe. I might be wrong in that pronunciation. Huygens. Anyway, in self-replicating, they replicate the personality, right? And so and his name is Bob. So Bob becomes Bob and Bob 1. But Bob 1 can't name himself. The convention is they can't name themselves the same as their first. So he then becomes Riker, which is a next-gen Star Trek reference. And amazing for those that
I think Riker is the name of one of the characters that got killed in Altered Carbon. So anyway, I think we're just about out of time.
Okay.
So ESP009, Lizbeth Deselm, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, FRC Media. Thank you, YouNow. Thank you, YouTube, because we're going to be putting it on YouTube after. Happy Pride Month. And stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be having a Detroit Become Human episode. We're going to talk about...
We didn't talk about that tonight.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Anime Boston and Detroit Become Human. Did you play it?
I played the demo. I haven't played the actual game. The demo was a mind
F. And then we have a little bit of a break for maintenance. And then July 17th, we're going to be having our official E3 2018 coverage show with Brooke Johnson. So make sure you all tune into that. I'm going to give that to you to promote because that's going to be a big one. So thank you, my lovely unicorns on all of my social media. Thank you, Lizbeth Deselm. ESP009 out.
Before we go, quickly,
last thought.
Can I just give a plug? Social media. You can find me.
Oh yes, absolutely.
You can find me on Twitter or Facebook, and follow away. I don't know that you'll see a whole lot interesting, but I'm happy to be in touch with anyone. So
awesome. All right, 009.
Thank you
Lizbeth
for having
Deselm.
me.
Thank you for coming on the show. We will see you next week with Shannon Gray for our Anime Boston staffing episode.
Brilliant.
And our Detroit Become Human episode. We're going to talk
That'll be
about
good.
probably for a full hour, almost a full hour about Detroit, and then 20
Looks
minutes or so about what it's like to staff a convention. So thank you. ESP009 out.